Welcome, friends! It's Hollywood's biggest night. Yes, the Oscars 2026, the 98th Academy Awards, held in the Dolby Theater on Sunset Boulevard. Hosted this year by Conan O'Brien, just like last year. Boy, what a thrill! The glitz, the glamour, the pageantry! I'm Zach Miller, that's Martin Cooke, and we're bringing you our predictions for this coming ceremony, Sunday, March 15th. We're going through all 24 categories. We added one this year, Best Casting, and instead of the usual 23. But we're going to give you what we think will win, and as always, what we think should win, which don't always align. So, Martin, any thoughts before we dive into it?
No, let's get to it. I'm
All
excited.
right. If you missed our last episode, we power ranked the top 10 Best Picture nominees from 10 to 1. And man, we've never been so aligned on a list. I don't think that was
That
wild.
was pretty crazy. Yeah, just basically two movies we had kind of almost flipped, and that was it.
So we'll give a little love to the movies that weren't nominated for Best Picture. Of course, a lot of the categories line up because you can't have a Best Picture nominee without having a couple other nominations here and there. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a Best Picture. Excuse me. So yeah, we're gonna save Best Picture for very last, and we're gonna build up to that.
Just
So
just like the actual telecast does.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start with the shorts. And Martin, I believe you've seen all 15 of these nominations, Best
I
Live
have.
Action, Animated, and Best Documentary. I've only seen two out of the 15, so this is going to be your moment to shine in this episode. But we're going to start out with Best Documentary Short, and the nominees are All the Empty Rooms, Armed with Only a Camera, The Life and Death of Brent Renaud, Children No More, We're and Are Gone, The Devil is Busy, and Perfectly a Strangeness.
This was actually a great selection of films. And again, I've talked about my love for the TIFF theater that's here in Toronto. Give me a job. I'd love to do something with TIFF, but they luckily they show all the nominated shorts every year, so that's how I was able to watch all 15. And these five documentary ones, with one exception, which was a little different, the four of the five were just emotionally heartrending and just very impressively done. Uh, and luckily, I think this is one where what will win and what I think should win is going to line up. And that is one called All the Empty Rooms.
Mhm.
And luckily, this is one that's actually available for most people because it's on Netflix. So I would recommend it. It's heartbreaking, but I definitely recommend this film.
All right, yeah, and that is the odds-on favorite via both Vanity Fair and Hollywood Reporter. So, best animated short, we have Butterfly, Forever Green, The Girl Who Cries Pearls, Retirement Plan, and The Three Sisters.
Yeah, an interesting group, very different films. I think Butterfly probably will win, and it has a very interesting animation style that is almost like an oil painting, and it involves a lot of swimming and sort of the water and the oil paints. It's very interesting, but the one I would actually give it to is The Girl Who Cried Pearls, which also has a very interesting animation style, almost looks like puppetry in parts. And was just a very kind of cool story about an old man telling a story to his granddaughter.
Hmm. Yeah, I did manage to see Butterfly, and that is the odds-on favorite. I did enjoy it, but I don't have anything to compare it to. So, moving on. Best live action short. The only one of these I've seen is The Singers, but the nominees are Butcher's Stain, A Friend of Dorothy, Jane Austen's period drama, The Singers, and Two People Exchanging Saliva.
Another very diverse group of films and pretty interesting. I have a feeling Two People Exchanging Saliva is probably going to win. And it was interesting. I think it was trying a bit too hard to be different in places, but the one I would probably give it to is A Friend of Dorothy. I thought
Hmm.
it was just a very sweet tale with an amazing performance by Miriam Margolyes, who some people may remember from the Harry Potter movies, and she plays just this, just a great role for her as this elderly woman.
So next up we have Best Sound. We have F1, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Surratt.
All right. Yeah, so I'll go again, but this is now one where you can chime in on. I have a feeling Sinners is going to win this. And look, the sound in Sinners was great, how how it involved the music and everything. But I think this is one I would actually give this to F1. And I think it's possible that F1 could win, but sound isn't, sound is everything. There used to be two different sound categories. There was sound effects editing and sound. Now it's just sound, so it kind of combines everything. But I still think the way that sound played such an important role in F1 and just how it kind of leapt off when you see that in theaters, it was just such a big part of the experience. I would give it to F1, but I have a feeling Sinners is going to win it.
Interesting. I'm the exact opposite in this category.
Oh,
I think F1 will actually win, but I think Sinners deserves it.
okay. Interesting.
Now on to best visual effects. We have Avatar, Fire and Ash, F1, Jurassic World Rebirth, The Lost Bus, and Sinners.
Yeah, I think this is the the one they're going to throw James Cameron a bone here and give it to Avatar. And honestly, he probably does deserve it. Say what you will about the Avatar movies, and the storyline and whatever. The visual effects actually are pretty spectacular in these movies. So I think it will win and probably does deserve to win.
Yeah, I've still only seen the first Avatar, but James Cameron has built his career off of visual effects, and yeah, they're definitely gonna throw one that way. I think it will win and deserves to win.
Yeah.
Then we have best production design: Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and Sinners.
All right. This one, again, I think a lot of these ones, once you start getting below the line, sometimes when there's a couple of movies that take home a lot of awards, they take some of these awards. And so, again, I think this is one that Sinners is probably going to win, but I would give this to Frankenstein. We've mentioned this before. We talked about this in our best picture power rankings. I had Sinners as a much better movie overall, but just the visuals of Frankenstein I thought were spectacular. And so that's why I think it deserves to win this movie.
Yeah,
Win this movie, win this award.
yeah, Sinners is definitely a worthy entry.
Hmm.
But it basically takes place in one room essentially the entire time, and it's just like a warehouse, a redesigned warehouse. So I think Frankenstein just is such on a much grander scope, and it's without the production design, it wouldn't be nearly as good of a movie as it was. Where I think Sinners relies a lot more on the writing, directing, and performances. So I think Frankenstein both will and deserves to win.
Okay.
And we have best makeup and hairstyling. Frankenstein again, Kakuho, Sinners, The Smashing Machine, and The Ugly Stepsister.
This is what I think Frankenstein will win. And look, it was very good. The makeup and hairstyling in this movie. I have a feeling though that oftentimes these tend to go to the people who are doing creatures or doing something a little different. And so it's Frankenstein. They're creating Frankenstein's monster. They're transforming Jacob Elordi. I think this will win. I'm actually often more impressed by the makeup and hairstyling that seems a little more seamless. And so this is maybe going to come out of left field. I would actually give this to the Smashing Machine just because The Rock, I mean, he looked like a normal person, but he didn't quite look like The Rock. Like it was just very seamless and very I just thought it was incredible. And so I tend to prefer that kind of more subtle type of work. And so that's why I would give it to that. Although I think Frankenstein might take this.
Yeah, I think Frankenstein can and probably should win. They usually always the Oscars always reward people for sitting in the makeup chair for 14 hours before they're
Yeah.
even called on to set, and that's exactly what Jacob Elordi had to go through. But I was before you said that definitely going to give honorable mention to Smashing Machine because for every point you just illustrated. Now we're on to some music for the best original score. We got Begonia, Frankenstein. Oh, I'll mention the composers. Begonia, Jerskin Fendrix, Frankenstein, Alexander Desplat, Hamnet, Max Richter, One Battle After Another, Johnny Greenwood, and Sinners, Ludwig Göransson.
Right. So three pretty popular names on there. Ludwig Göransson, Johnny Greenwood, and Alexander Desplat have all been nominated before a bunch of times. In some like Alexander Desplat, he's had a whole bunch of nominations. I think this one though is not really much of a contest this year. I think it's Ludwig Göransson for Sinners. Hands down, he will win, and he absolutely should win, just because the music was such an integral part of this movie.
Yeah, it was not even close, and this will almost certainly be his second Oscar after Oppenheimer a couple years ago, and both were just masterpieces of composing and very, very different. He doesn't really have a specific style. He's so seamless in whatever he tries to do. Um, not to knock the greatest of the greats, but when you hear a John Williams or a Hans Zimmer score, you can pretty much tell who it is because I mean, again, like they're the top two legends in that field, but there is something to be said about someone who can just weave their way into the story without taking it over,
Yeah,
and that's exactly what Ludwig Göransson does.
yeah.
He was actually a protege of Hans Zimmer as well, so.
That's true. Yeah, it's a pretty nice tree of talent that that Hans Zimmer's growing right there.
Now we have the newest category this year, which is best casting. Uh, we have Hamnet for Nina Gold of Game of Thrones fame. She did all the casting for Westeros back in the day. Worked with HBO for like 25 years too. So one of the only people I know that of casting the casting directors that are household names for me. Marty Supreme, Jennifer Venditti, One Battle After Another, Cassandra. I'm going to butcher this. Kulukundis. The Secret Agent, Gabriel Dominguez, and Sinners, Francine Maisler.
It's really hard to know how they're going to judge this thing since it's the first time we've ever seen this category. But I have a feeling this is going to be sort of the equivalent of like the SAG Awards best overall cast kind of thing.
Mm.
And so I have a feeling it's going to be Sinners, and not really knowing too much about how the behind the scenes casting process of each of these movies worked. It's also hard for me to say which movie should win for this. I will say that I still think it's really weird that Sentimental Value didn't get a nomination in this category, considering they had three acting nominations for their cast. So how the casting wasn't great that resulted in three nominations is a little beyond me. But I think this is probably going to end up being Sinners, and probably deserves to be Sinners. The casting in Sinners was spot on perfect.
Yeah, I struggled a bit with this one more than other categories for not only the reasons you just stated, but I think Sinners will win, but I think actually One Battle After Another deserves to win
Okay.
just from top to bottom. I mean, because again, you don't really know what the parameters are, but the star
Yeah.
power they were able to harness in One Battle After Another, whereas it was basically Michael B. Jordan and to a much lesser extent Haley Steinfeld were the only real names in this movie. And then you had like character actors and people that have been acting for a long time that we just really haven't that aren't household names. But then you go to One Battle After Another has everybody from Leonardo DiCaprio to Benicio del Toro and even newcomers like Jason Finity. So I just thought from top to bottom, it best casting, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Fair enough.
Do you want to read off this beginning of this next one
Yeah,
here?
so let's go with the next one. So the next ones we got best costume design. And so the nominees in this category are, let me just zoom in a little bit here. So we've got Avatar, Fire and Ash, Deborah L. Scott, Frankenstein, Kate Hawley, Hamnet, Malgosia Turzanska, Marty Supreme, Mayako Belizzi, and Sinners, Ruth E. Carter.
Yeah, this is another one. Costume design and production design are a lot of times one and the same as far as sweeping these categories, and I think Frankenstein will and probably should win as well.
I think I'm going to say consistent in my approach that I had to hair and makeup. In that, yes, I think Frankenstein probably will win this. I would actually give this to Hamnet again because I like the subtlety of the costumes and everything in Hamnet just being part of the world. Whereas in Frankenstein, they're a bit more showy and they can,
A
they
bit.
don't have to be, yeah, okay, very showy, but they don't have to try to be realistic. They don't have to try to be grounded in anything. So even though it was very impressive and I loved it all, yeah, I just like when it's very important for them to kind of blend into the movie. So yeah, I would give it to Hamnet, but that's just a little quirk of my personal criteria. All right, next up we've got Best Original Song. And here are the nominees. We have Dear Me by Diane Warren and Relentless, Golden from, oh, sorry, from Diane Warren from the movie Relentless, Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters, I Lied to You from Sinners, Sweet Dreams of Joy from Viva Verde, and Dreams from some other movie. No, I'm just kidding. It's from Train Dreams. Um, what do you got?
Yeah, so I have some thoughts on this category. First off, Train Dreams is probably one of the worst songs I've ever heard by Nick Cave. When the credits started rolling and I found myself overall disappointed with Train Dreams as a whole, I was like, whoa, I saw that Nick Cave's nominated and I haven't heard the song yet, so I'm sure it's going to roll over the credits.
Yeah.
And it was just as like slow and um boring as the movie was.
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't one of his better efforts for sure.
It's definitely no Red Right Hand from Peaky Blinders or something like that. But okay, and so yeah, I have a very contentious relationship with Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters, which is it's this category to lose. I have little kids running through the house at times here and there, nieces, nephews and stuff, and man, I've heard this song so many fucking times. And it is catchy, but it's such an earworm, and I cannot wait till something else catches on because I'm so over the K-pop craze in general, and this song it just bashes me over the goddamn head. So it's definitely gonna win.
Yeah.
It's all the rage, and but that said, I Lied to You is much more up my alley, and it's a great blues song too
Okay.
from Sinners.
Yeah, so yeah, obviously Golden is going to win this. And strangely, you would think that I'd say that I Lied to You should win because agreed, it's way more up my alley too. For those of you who've seen some of the things when we did our initial talk on Sinners, I'm a big fan of blues. But I actually think Golden should win in part because of that, because it just became such a big hit. And so I think that means something, like the fact that it can cross over to mainstream. So I would actually give it to Golden.
Yeah, it's fair. It's just my own personal bias getting in the
Fair enough.
way.
Fair enough. Yeah, I probably haven't heard it as many times as you have.
Well, if it's under 150, then you have it.
Yeah, probably not 150. All right, so now we move on to best editing. And the nominees are F1, where Stephen Mirion, Marty Supreme, Ronald Bronstein, and Josh Safdie. One Battle After Another, Andy Jurgensen. Sentimental Value, Olivier Bouge-Coutet. And Sinners, Michael P. Shaver, or Shaver, I'm not sure. Probably Shaver.
Um, so all of these are well deserving. All of these films were also nominated for Best Picture. And editing, one of the most underrated aspects of filmmaking,
Yes.
by far. They don't get the flowers that they deserve because they basically make the movie. I mean, the director can take as many takes as he wants, but as soon as you get in the editing bay, it's all up to the editor and director to just take thousands and thousands and thousands of hours worth of footage and take it down to 2.5 hours worth of
Yeah.
movie. So,
To tell
uh,
you a story with those clips. Yeah.
right, exactly. So while they all are well deserving, I think One Battle After Another was particularly served well by the editing, and it's also the odds-on favorite. So I think it both will and should win.
Okay. I think Yeah, I guess I'm feeling a bit of a late surge for Sinners because I think Sinners will win, and I actually would give this to Sinners as
Okay.
well because I think the way that they cut this movie really helped bring out both the tension, but also kind of worked with the music. And again, it's all coming in, and all that takes place in the editing room. I just really liked what they did.
Yeah, I completely agree. All these were definitely well deserving. And like as
Yeah,
we talked about last episode with sentimental value, the way they were able to transition from scene to scene, I mean, that's all done in the editing room. So
yeah.
yeah,
And even F1, I mean,
the
deserves
racing
a
sequences,
lot of,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, pretty spectacular editing. All right, now next up, one of the bigger awards, Best Cinematography. So the nominees are Frankenstein, Dan Lauston, Marty Supreme, Darius Konji, One Battle After Another, Michael Bauman, Sinners, Autumn Durald Arkapow, and Train Dreams, Adolfo Veloso.
So again, cinematography, super underrated. Can't a director can be a great director, but if the cinematographer is not shooting it the right way, then it's not going to be a good film. And again, all of these are nominated for Best Picture, so it just goes to show how important these kind of below the line categories are.
Yeah.
And with that, though, I will say that Sinners probably will and should win this one.
Okay, so I've got Sinners probably will. This one I'm actually I think Frankenstein probably should win this. Just because a lot of the way, cinematography is also a lot about finding the right shots.
Mhm.
And it's one thing to design everything the way it was designed in Frankenstein, but to be able to demonstrate that with the right shots, sort of going up the staircase and seeing the
Oh yeah,
flowing and just the way they showed Frankenstein's kind of lair with that tower and the whatever, just some of the shots and just the way you follow Frankenstein's monster as he's coming across the ice and all that kind of stuff. I just really enjoyed the way it was shot. So I would give this one to Frankenstein.
yeah, that's a really good case. And just a quick aside, I think Frankenstein was heavily underserved by being a Netflix movie. Um,
Agreed. Yeah.
this was meant to be seen in IMAX or Dolby. I mean, this is such a spectacle film, and I watched it on this like maybe 30-inch screen with no surround sound, and it just takes so much out of it. I mean, still a great film, but I was just the entire time I was lamenting that I wasn't still living in California where I could have seen like the 10-day window where it was actually in the big cinemaplexes. So.
Right. This Frankenstein was one of the ones I was lucky enough to see back at the film festival in September. So I actually did see it on a big screen, which is maybe why, yeah, I appreciated the cinematography that much more. All right, next up we've got Best Animated Feature, and the nominees are Arco, Elio, K-pop Demon Hunters, Little Amelie or The Character of Rain, and Zootopia 2.
Yeah, K-pop Demon Hunters is definitely going to win this.
It really is.
There's
Yeah.
no stopping this movie.
No,
But with that said, Zootopia 2, I enjoyed.
I agree with you 100%. Although I will say, I've mentioned it before, I actually didn't mind K-pop Demon Hunters. The moment it just became this big juggernaut and it was making so much and everybody was watching it on Netflix, I thought, well, I should at least watch the first 20 minutes and see what this is all about. I ended up watching the whole thing and quite enjoyed it. So it's by no means a bad movie, but yeah, Zootopia 2 is definitely a superior film, but K-pop Demon Hunters is certainly going to win.
Yeah, and it smashed the record for rewatches on Netflix. And so I'm sure there's going to be a K-pop Demon Hunters franchise as long as they can milk
Yeah,
it.
for the longest time, there were two K-pop Demon Hunters up on my top 10 movies of the week. One was the original and then a sing-along version. So that
Yeah.
says something that for weeks and weeks and weeks, those were both up there. All right, next up, we've got Best Documentary Feature. And this is the one that I have to plead the most ignorance about because I've only seen two of these. And the nominees are The Alabama Solution, Come See Me in the Good Light, Cutting Through Rocks, Mr. Nobody Against Putin, and The Perfect Neighbor. Do you have
Yeah,
any?
I wasn't able to see any of these, but I know that The Perfect Neighbor is the favorite in this
Yeah.
category. Which two did you wind up seeing?
So I saw The Perfect Neighbor and I saw Alabama Solution. The one I really wanted to see was Mr. Nobody Against Putin, but
Yeah,
I
me too. Yeah.
couldn't see it anywhere. I agree. The Perfect Neighbor does seem to be the odds-on favorite. I which I don't really get. I mean, it's available on Netflix, and it's just a souped up version of a lot of these kind of Netflix true crime ones. I mean,
Mm.
there's some interesting stuff about the neighborhood where this took place, but yeah, I didn't love it necessarily. But I did think the other one that I saw was very affecting, and that's the Alabama Solution.
Mm.
And it's all about the prison system in Alabama. And yeah, so I would definitely give it to that of the two that I've seen. But again, yeah, have to plead ignorance on most of this category.
Yeah, it's interesting how the true crime boom has just taken over, especially
Oh
for
man.
like white women over 40.
Yeah. Yeah, they seem to absolutely love it.
Yeah, kids are in the other room watching K-pop and the moms are watching the true crime.
Yeah.
Um, so I might as well illustrate this point since I forgot to do it at the top of the show. But did you see that this is the first year in Academy Awards history that the voters are mandated to watch the categories that they vote in?
I did see that. I wonder if they'll do some sort of shadow polling later on and say, did you actually, and if we'll see what kind of results they get. But because I'm curious to see if people actually did.
Yeah, and how are they going to monitor that?
Oh, they can't. They can't. Yeah, no, it's all
Exactly.
honor system, which I don't think really means that much in Hollywood.
The only way they would be able to do that is if they did like some kind of Clockwork Orange thing where they sat him down and peeled their eyelid. You must watch this. But yeah, okay, we're requiring you to watch these movies because every year, I forget if it's Hollywood Reporter or Variety has these anonymous Oscar
Yeah.
brutally honest reviews where the voters are under the cloak of anonymity are able to give their honest opinion on which movies are the best and which movies they didn't watch but still voted on. And just like with the shorts and documentary features, so many people are just like, well, I just voted on it because
Oh, you seem to have frozen there, Zach. So I will do my best to keep this going.
people that watched it voted on it, you know?
Oh, you froze there for a second, Zach, but I think we're back and we seem to be all right. So anyway, yeah, I think we only missed about a sentence or two from you.
Yeah, I was just saying that it's like I don't know why people just can't abstain from voting and
Yeah,
let the people that actually view the material carry the vote, but so many people like that's just Hollywood for you. Like, oh, of course I watched it, even though you
yeah.
just read like the summary and like
I've got no expertise, but I've got an opinion.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So moving on.
Yeah, moving on. So, best international feature. And two of these were obviously nominated for Best Picture, so they've got to be the front runners. Anyway, the nominees are The Secret Agent from Brazil. It was just an accident from France, but actually, it's an Iranian movie or by an Iranian director, but obviously not the kind of thing that Iran as a country would have supported. So it's listed as being from France. Sentimental Value from Norway, Surat from Spain, and The Voice of Hind Rajab from Tunisia, which again is actually a Palestinian film.
Yeah, it must really suck to be the creator of the other three films that are nominated.
Yeah.
Because you know going in that there's literally no chance you're going to win because the other two are nominated for Best Picture overall. So
Yeah.
it's definitely coming down to The Secret Agent and Sentimental Value. But with that said, I'm sure they're stoked to get invited to the ceremony and have some recognition and get a little pay bump for their next project.
Yeah.
Um, Sentimental Value, I really hope is going to win, and I think it will and should win.
Agreed. Yeah. But I've only seen three of these, so obviously Secret Agent, Sentimental Value. I also did see It Was Just an Accident, which was interesting. It was pretty good. Um, but Sentimental Value by far the best of this group. All right. And now we get into the categories that we like, the screenplay, the writing categories, the most important, really.
A
Best
movie
original.
without a script.
Yep, exactly. Best original screenplay. We've got Blue Moon. It was just an accident. Marty Supreme, Sentimental Value, and Sinners.
Yeah, so I was able to watch Blue Moon. Wasn't able to see Just an Accident, but you covered that one, so you'll be able to speak on that if you want to. But
Mhm.
I think this is Sinners to lose, and Ryan Coogler can and should win.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, there's this Sinners, I think, is almost certainly going to win this, and I also think it should. I absolutely loved Sentimental Value, but I thought Coogler did something sort of interesting and novel and spectacular with Sinners.
And just so original, the way he's able to blend
Exactly.
genres. I mean, as we said last week when we were talking about sentimental value, it's about a broken family putting the pieces back together. And
Yeah.
while that's been done so many times, the acting and writing did set this one apart. But again, Sinners was just like a just such an anomaly in that it was
Oh no, Zach keeps freezing on us here. Hopefully he'll come back again pretty soon. I'm not sure if it's at his end or at my end. I'm doing the recording here, so
and we're
you
back. So
yes, we're back. Okay. Oh, so you
Sinners.
noticed the freeze there. Okay.
But yeah, so I'm just gonna pick up. I stopped as soon as I saw you freeze. But yeah, Sinners was just such an anomaly, just such a great creation. And as we said last week, Ryan Coogler just elevates his game every single time. So it'll be good to see him win an Oscar.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'll take I guess why don't we just alternate for this last column that we have here? I'll start with
Sure.
best adapted screenplay. And the nominees are Begonia by Will Tracy, Frankenstein by Guillermo del Toro, also the director, of course. Hamnet screenplay co-written by the director Chloe Zhao and Maggie O'Farrell.
Who
One
wrote the
battle,
book
yeah,
that it's
uh,
based on? Yeah.
One Battle After Another, written by the director Paul Thomas Anderson. Always writes his own stuff. He's a true auteur. And Train Dreams, based on the novella. It's written by Clint Bentley and Greg Quidar.
Right. This one I think will be one battle after another. And because it seems to be picking up a lot of awards lately. It's interesting. It's in the best adapted screenplay because it is very loosely, I guess, based on is it Thomas Pynchon novel, I believe. Um, but it's apparently very, very loosely. Anyway, I think it will win. It seems to have a lot of momentum. I would give this to Hamnet, just because I thought Hamnet was a beautiful movie, but also just beautifully written in terms of the interactions between the characters, and in a movie that relies so much on just dialogue and scenes of people talking. I loved Hamnet. How about you? Oh, you don't seem to be frozen. I can see your eyes moving, but oh no, maybe he's frozen again. I don't know what's happening here. This is ridiculous.
All right, for the technical difficulties.
Yeah. I'm assuming that because I'm the one recording on the Zoom that when it freezes, the recording is going to keep recording me. So I've just been talking through these freezes.
Okay. Anyway, I completely agree. I think Hamnet should win, but I think the Oscars go into One Battle After Another.
Next up, Best Supporting Actress. The nominees. This is an interesting category. Nominees are Elle Fanning for Sentimental Value, Inga Ibsdottir Lydias for Sentimental Value, Amy Madigan for Weapons, sorry, Wunmi Musaku from Sinners, and Tiana Taylor from One Battle After Another.
Yeah, I think Wunmi Masoku is a dark horse here, but
Hmm.
I think Tiana Taylor will and should win for one battle after another. She was just such a dynamic performance in that movie, and especially for the limited screen time that she had. Uh, yeah, she was an absolute powerhouse, and again, strong category though, and a lot of people well deserving. But it's going to be Tiana Taylor's night.
I agree that she should win. I would definitely give her the award. If I had a vote, I would give it to her. I think there's been a late push actually for Amy Madigan.
Hmm.
Interestingly enough, like just on this past weekend, she won the Actors Award for Best Supporting Actress, which is what the SAG Awards used to be called. Now they're just called the Actor Awards. But anyway, the acting SAG, the acting guild, makes up the biggest voting body part of the Oscar voting body. So I think there's a chance that Amy Madigan actually walks away with this, even though, yes, I would give it to Tiana Taylor as well.
Now we have Best Supporting Actor, Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein, Delroy Lindo for Sinners, Sean Penn for One Battle After Another, and Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value.
These guys were all great. I enjoyed each one of these performances in many ways. I think that Sean Penn is probably going to win. It seems like he's got some momentum. He's won a couple of the awards in the lead up to the Oscars. I would give this to Stellan Skarsgård. He did win the Golden Globe, but he missed out on some of the other recent awards. So I'm not sure he's going to win, but I definitely would give it to Skarsgård.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Sean Penn is he's basically swept award season in this
Yeah,
category, and well, I loved Delroy Lindo's performance in Sinners. I don't think he was in it quite enough, and he got kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit with all those great actors surrounding him. And
yeah.
I loved him, but everybody from Miles Katan to Wunmi Masoku just were so great around him. But yeah, Stellan Skarsgård deserves it.
Yeah. All right, best actor. We've got the nominees are Timothy Chalamet in Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio in One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke in Blue Moon, Michael B. Jordan in Sinners, and Wagner Moura in The Secret Agent. And now you have seen Blue Moon, but I didn't see Blue Moon, so that's the one I can't speak to. But what do you got in this category?
Again, very strong. Poor Timothy. I just don't think he's ready yet. Um, they're gonna give him the DiCaprio treatment where he's gonna have to get into his mid 30s at least before I think they give him the statue finally. But and DiCaprio, he was the probably the worst actor in a in his own movie, and he did everything that the script called for. Not it's not a knock on Leo, but he just was kind of flat through the whole thing. Uh, just kind of like single-minded while everybody else had like all these like ups and downs, these roller coaster arcs and everything around him. So that said, I think Michael B. Jordan will and probably should, which is wild because I didn't think he was gonna come through with a statue at the end of the year, but I think he's finally gonna get it.
I would love to see him win it. And I think there is a good chance. I actually, unlike you, wouldn't be surprised if Chalamet comes away with this. So I think in terms of what will happen, I'm going to lean slightly that Chalamet will actually win. But
Interesting.
uh, but yeah, I would love to. I would give it to Michael B. Jordan, and I kind of hope he does take it. Right. Now that leaves Best Actress now. Yeah, sorry for the technical difficulties, folks. I don't know why this keeps freezing every once in a while, but we're on to Best Acting now. Best Actress, sorry. Do you want to go ahead and read them?
Yep. So we got Jesse Buckley for Hamlet, Rose Byrne, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue, Renee Renzi for Sentimental Value, and Emma Stone for Begonia.
Yeah, this is the easiest category to predict in the
Mm.
entire Oscars, and it's going to be Jessie Buckley, and she absolutely deserves it. So yeah, Buckley and Buckley.
Yep, Buckley and Buckley, the law firm of Buckley and Buckley.
All right, two more to go. Best director. And this is going to be an interesting category. And we'll see if this plays or is this similar to what happens in Best Picture. Because the nominees are Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another, Ryan Coogler for Sinners, Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, Joaquin Trier for Sentimental Value, and Chloe Zhao for Hamnet.
Yeah, so Paul Thomas Anderson has already set the record for anybody in any category over the course of a career for being nominated the most times and not winning an Oscar. He's been nominated 3 times for Best Director and hasn't won. So I think they're going to throw him a kind of a Lifetime Achievement Award, which they tend to do, which is kind of bullshit, but it's an emotional industry driven by emotions. And so I think they're going to throw him his Oscar here. And I'm not going to say it's not deserved, but this isn't his best film by a long
No.
shot. And I think Ryan Coogler deserves it though.
Okay. Yeah, I agree on both of those. I do think Paul Thomas Anderson will win. I also would give it to Ryan Coogler, even though I've always been a huge Paul Thomas Anderson fan, actually,
Me too.
way
Yeah.
way back, like since
Well,
Boogie Nights and
yeah.
Magnolia. Magnolia is one of these sort of divisive movies that I've always thought was absolutely brilliant. And everything he's done since then. So I think you're right, though. I think, people think, oh, yeah, maybe he should have had one for There Will Be Blood or something, or some of his other films, and they'll be a bit more tilted to give him this award.
And last and most importantly, we have Best Picture. You already know who we think deserves it if you watched last week's episode. We both, but the nominees are in alphabetical order: Begonia, F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Train Dreams.
Yeah. So I think this is actually going to be pretty close. They never actually released the results of the voting for these awards. But I think if you could break into PricewaterhouseCooper and find all the ballots, I think after this is said and done, it'll be a pretty close two-horse race between One Battle After Another and Sinners. I'm gonna say that I think by a hair, One Battle After Another is gonna take it. Um, but of those two, I would definitely give it to Sinners, but I think it's gonna end up being One Battle After Another.
Yeah, and we both think Hamnet was actually the best movie of the year, though.
Yes, that's true.
But yeah, I don't think it really stands a chance. I agree that it is a 2 horse race. Maybe Hamnet will get a few votes here and there. It would really be interesting if they did release the numbers at the end, but I guess they just don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah. Yeah, especially in the acting categories.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of unfair. And Kate
Yeah.
Hudson's sitting there going, "Oh."
So yeah, again, I think One Battle After Another is really picking up steam at the perfect moment, and so I think it's gonna win the day. But again, Sinners I thought was just a far superior movie. But this is this is the politics of Hollywood and how it goes sometimes, and hopefully Ryan Coogler does something even better next time.
Wouldn't put it past him, as you say. He's on an upward trajectory. The guy's great.
Yeah, so that's 24 categories. Able to breeze through them fairly quickly. And I thought they were supposed to do stunts this year, though. Do you know what happened with that?
I don't actually, and maybe that's not starting until next year. I'm not sure. I did notice that at the actor awards, there was a stunt category. Now, I haven't paid close attention to them in other years, so I don't know if this was the first year they've had that category or not. But it seems like people are starting to give more recognition to stunts. I'm just not sure when the Oscar ones are supposed to start because, yeah, like you, I thought they were bringing it in soon as well.
Yeah, and I just hope during the broadcast they when Ludwig Göransson wins his Oscar, they actually let him speak on air this time, and unlike the Golden Globes where they didn't even put it on TV just to
Terrible.
save time for the stupid opening skits and that nobody gives a fuck about.
It's
So
absolutely
yeah,
brutal. Yeah.
it's a night for the award winners and not for the comedians and try to make us laugh with their corny ass jokes most of the time. Even though I love Conan O'Brien, but they're hampered by network censors and all that shit. But yeah, so next Sunday, March 15th, we will be tuned in and see if our predictions are correct. Maybe there'll be a couple surprises. There usually are.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, we shall see. Until then, we'll see you on the red carpet and make sure like and subscribe, do all that, leave us a comment. We're finally up to 40 subscribers after all this time. So actually 41. So well on our way for that Golden Globe nomination for Best Podcast next year. Anyway, I'm Zach Miller. That's my co-host, Martin Cooke, and we'll see you next time on Unsolicited Film Reviews Podcast.
Bye, everybody.